And it appears to me that if we want to build a bridge to a rational world that the majority of humanity can cross, we must address this issue. Most of us now do our best not to think about death, but there's always a part of us that knows this can't last forever. Wait for it. A part of us is always aware that we are only a doctor's visit or a phone call away from being confronted with the reality of our own or those closest to us mortality. Now, I'm certain many of you in this room have probably experienced this in some way. You must understand how strange it is to be thrown out of your normal routine and given the full-time job of not dying or caring for someone who is. But one thing people tend to realize at these times is that they squandered a lot of time when life was normal. It is more than just what they did with their time. It's not just that they spent too much time working or checking email obsessively. It's because they were preoccupied with the wrong things. They are sorry for what they were concerned about. So, when life was normal, their attention was bound up in petty concerns year after year. Of course, this is a paradox, because we all know the epiphany is on its way. Maybe don't, because this is coming. Don't you realize that one day you'll be sick or someone close to you will die, and you'll look bad on the things that piqued your interest? And you'll wonder what I was doing, you know. This and yet, if you're like most people, you'll spend the majority of your life tacitly assuming you'll live forever. It's like watching a bad movie for the fourth time or bickering with your spouse that these things only make sense in the context of eternity. Because even if you live to be 100, there are only so many days in a lifetime. So, what is the point of life if there is nothing sacred? Such a question makes sense, and I believe these questions do as well. And there are responses to them. However, getting more information is not the answer. The solution is a mental shift. There are ways of experiencing life as sacred wood that do not require belief in anything, and certainly not on the basis of insufficient evidence. Okay, there are methods for truly living in the present moment. What is the alternative? Okay, it always is. However, how much do you believe you may need to plan for the future in order to mitigate risks? Your life's reality is now. This may sound trite, but it is true. As a matter of physics, this is not entirely correct. There is, in fact, no now that encompasses the entire universe. You can't have an event happening here and another happening in Andromeda at the same time. The truth is that it is not even well defined as a matter of neurology, because we know that inputs to the brain arrive at different times and that consciousness is built upon layers of inputs with different timings. In some ways, our conscious awareness at this moment is already a memory. However, as a matter of conscious experience, the reality of your life is always now, which I believe is a liberating truth about the nature of the human mind. In fact, I believe there is probably nothing more important to know about your mind than that. If you want to be happy in this world, remember that the past is only a memory, a thought that arises in the present. The future is only predicted. Another thought has just occurred to me. Okay, what we truly have is this moment music and we spend the majority of our lives forgetting this truth, repudiating and fleeing it. And the horror is that we succeed. We never truly connect with and find fulfillment in the present moment because we are constantly hoping to be happy in the future, which never arrives. Even when we think we're in the present moment, we're always looking over our shoulders, anticipating what will happen next. We are constantly solving problems, and you can simply drop yours, if only for a moment. Enjoy whatever is true of your life right now. So, we have a very limited understanding of what's going on. We are subjectively unaware of the majority of what our minds are doing, and yet, when we consider what matters is consciousness and its contents, and consciousness is everything our experience of the world. The experience of those we love is a function of consciousness and its contents. So, regardless of the origins of consciousness, the most important question for us is, how can we be truly fulfilled in life? How do we design lives that are truly worth living, given that our lives are finite? We're all in the business of seeking fulfillment and relief from pain. This is not to say that we want only pleasure or the simplest life possible. However, much of what we desire in life, involves struggle, and many of us learn to enjoy the struggle in some way. Any athlete knows that there are some types of pain that are actually enjoyable. You know, if the burn of lifting weights was a symptom of a disease, it would be intolerable, however, because it occurs in the context of a strenuous exercise and progress. Most people learn to enjoy it. As a result, the conceptual lens through which we view even the most intense sensation greatly influences how we feel about it. And this is one of the many ways in which our thinking about experience alters its character. So the frame we put around the present moment is important and greatly influences our experience of it. Music and how we think about death varies depending on whether we're thinking about dying ourselves or losing the people we care about. But regardless of which side of the argument we take, death is an ever-present reality for us. That it is. So, whether we realize it or not, it is always present in the background of the news, in the stories we hear about other people's lives, in our concerns about our own health, and in the attention we pay when crossing the street. If you look closely at yourself, you'll notice that you expend a lot of energy. Every day, we try not to die, as philosophers and contemplatives have long noted. Death makes a mockery of almost everything else we spend our lives doing. But thinking about the brevity of life gives us some perspective on how we use our attention. It's not so much what we focus on. It is the level of focus. It's how we feel when we're doing it.